Can you believe it's almost time for report cards? It seems like such a vague memory.
Well, I have a few reminders and some answers to FAQs that could really be helpful to you.
Awesome. Let's hear them.
We just wanted to address a few of the common assessment and report card FAQs that we've been hearing. So the purpose of this particular presentation will provide you with information relating to your K-3 assessments that are available, the recording sheets, and the report cards. So let's start with K-3 assessments. Where do I access the K-3 Common Core assessments? To access the Common Core assessments, you are going to go to this address, or if for some reason your browser or your computer is not letting you access this shortened URL, you will need to go ahead and type in the long URL. So here I am at the K-3 Math Assessment website. You'll notice that there is a specific tab for each grade level, and then it is divided up by domain. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and under second grade, I'm going to go to Numbers and Operations in Base 10. And you will see that there are assessments listed under each standard. So you'll notice that under 2 NBT 5, for example, there are several listed. And so I can go ahead and click on this particular PDF, click on download, and that assessment would then come up. So you have seen where the assessments are located. Now the question is, how do I use these standards-based assessments? These assessments can be used for formatives or they can be used for summative assessments. It depends upon how you choose to use these. Also keep in mind that under some of those standards, several assessment choices are offered. Make sure you use those that are most closely aligned with the type of instruction and activities you've been doing in your classroom. We want those assessments to match and be aligned with your instruction. Also, keep in mind that you will assess a standard first quarter, but some of those kids will not have mastered that standard. So the intent is you can come back here, use some of these assessments that second quarter, for example, to do some reassessment. Also, when we think about assessment, keep in mind that we want it to be a collage, not a single snapshot. So if we take just one assessment for a standard, that's not really giving us a clear picture of where that student is in their learning. So just a reminder about assessment and having multiple pieces of data to show that they've either mastered or have not yet mastered a particular standard. Right, so I just want to take a minute to talk a little bit about the K-3 recording sheets that you can find at the curriculum area of the BPS website. And here you'll see an example of second grade math recording sheet for the first quarter. And I just want to point out that this first title that you'll see is the cluster title, meaning a group of standards that fall and address one particular area. So you'll notice that the first 4 standards are part of the Understand Place Value cluster. And then this one is gray because it belongs to another cluster. And we just wanted to point that out, that we just want you to kind of notice that that's how those are organized. Your recording sheets are places that you can put scores, anecdotal notes, and information relating to a particular standard. So let's take a look at the K-3 report cards. They have changed a bit since last year. Our K-3 grading system for math will once again be based on numbers used for showing progress toward mastery of standards. So you'll notice that there is not an option of a 4. So basically, if students receive a 3, that means they have met the expectations of that standard. All expectations within that standard. 2 means they're nearing the standard expectations, and a 1 is simply below expectations. I really do feel that utilizing the BPS Common Core Practice and Content Standards document for your grade level, which can be found here at this address, is going to be key, because if we are determining whether they meet the expectations of the standard, we really need to be sure that we understand what that standard is asking students to know and do. So for example, in this document, if I am assessing students on the standard 2 NBT 1, it's going to be important that I understand what that standard is asking students to do. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for me to score that standard. All right, so I'd like to show you how your report cards are organized this year. Under math, you're going to see gray shaded headings, and those are the domains, the big strands or areas in math. You'll also notice that you have quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I go back here, what I'd like you to notice is, for example, this is OA, Operations and Algebraic Thinking domain. So this would be second grade 2OA1, 2OA2, 2OA3. So these are organized by domain in the order that the standards appear in the standard documents. Okay, so as I look at this, what I can see is first quarter, these standards are not being assessed. Okay, I can easily see that it's not until the third quarter that I will be reporting to parents as to how students are progressing in this standard. Okay, fluently adds and subtracts within 20. Second quarter is when I will start assessing that standard. That these 4 standards right here, I will start assessing those first quarter.
So what should you do if you need to report on a standard that you haven't even taught yet or have not taught enough to assess? Can I choose an NA? Yes. However, be sure to discuss this at the beginning of the quarter with your grade level partners and principal. It needs to be a building decision by all the teachers that an NA will be reported on that standard in that building. You can't assess what hasn't been taught, but keep in mind that NA is an exception and not the norm.
Sometimes we hear the question of why is this standard already on the report card in the first quarter? Why are we assessing and reporting on this? So just some things to consider. The K-3 report card is standards-based, so this reports to parents where they are on this learning journey for that particular standard. It takes lots of time and a variety of experiences before some kids are going to reach mastery. We can't wait to start teaching this later on in the year because we need to start now so they have that time to build and work on this standard. Assessing and reporting where a child is on this continuum of mastery, be it below, nearing, and meets, is valuable information for parents to know early on in the year also. And that is the purpose of this report card, is to provide that information with parents and students so they know where they're at.